Welcome to Short Stories with Lola, a space for real moments, quiet rebellion, and the courage it takes to say the hard things, especially when it's your own people. Today's story is about family, love, and learning to speak truth, even when it shakes the room. The living room sermon. It happened on a Sunday that starts with pepper soup boiling on the stove and ends with overfed guests arguing about politics, rice prices, and righteousness. My uncle was in his usual form, loud, commanding, quoting scripture like he was preaching to a crowd that didn't dare talk back. He stood right in our living room, talking about the lost values of this generation, how a woman's place is submission, and how children these days lack respect. Oh, he wasn't drunk. He didn't need to be. His favorite high was being the loudest voice in the room. But behind the monologues and big words, we all knew the truth. We knew how he treated my aunt, how he dismissed her thoughts, how he laughed at her ideas like they were jokes. We knew how he barked at his sons for being soft, how he demanded honor while offering none. And for years, I stayed silent. We all did. Because that's your uncle. Because don't talk back. Because we don't air our family business. But that day, the rules went out the window. Maybe it was the way he scoffed when my cousin said she didn't want to rush into marriage. Maybe it was the forced laughter, the uneasy glances, or maybe I was just done pretending that silence was respect. The moment I spoke back. My hands were trembling, but my spirit was louder. Uncle, I said, I also don't want to rush into marriage, and my parents respect my wishes. They're here. You can ask them. The room went silent. Isn't part of respect not mocking the people you love? Isn't it listening to them, supporting their desires? Doesn't submission require leading with love? And in reality, whoever wants honor has to earn it. It felt like God held space and time for me, and I didn't want to misuse the opportunity, so I kept going. Those who raise their children in fear will never gain their trust. And sometimes, the victims get tired of shrinking just to make the antagonist feel tall. My aunt looked at me, eyes wide. But behind that, a flicker of something new, like hope finally breathing. My uncle didn't say anything for a few seconds. Neither did anyone else. Oh, he knew I was referring to him. And something in the air shifted. What came after? He looked at my dad and said, "You're going to let her talk to me like that?" My dad smiled and responded, quietly, "Has she disrespected you in any way? Are we not to let our children speak? Because if they don't speak to us, they'll find comfort in the arms of strangers, and that can be very dangerous. Besides, she told no lies. If your daughter doesn't want to rush into marriage, why mock her? Instead, ask her why. Know her reasons. Support her the best way you can. Because she'll be the one living in the marriage, not you, not your wife. You can't keep quoting scripture while doing the exact opposite of what the word says. We're all family. We should be able to hold each other accountable. And it's not just the parent who can correct a child. A child can correct a parent when they're wrong. I was so proud of my father at that moment. Because that moment didn't split the family. It didn't break us. But it cracked the silence we'd all been sitting in for years. My aunt began to speak more gently but firmly. She started offering opinions in front of him without apologizing. She corrected him once in front of the younger cousins, and when he glared, she said, "I'm allowed to talk." Because really, she is. My cousins took a cue from that. My older cousin now interrupts when the joke goes way too far. Another one started speaking up for her younger ones. And me? I didn't become the rebel. I became the example. We all learned that love isn't agreeing with everything, that peace without truth is just tension dressed up in tradition, and that sometimes the most respectful thing you can do is be honest. This is Short Stories with Lola. Thank you for listening to today's story. A reminder that even in deeply rooted families, someone has to pull the first weed for new truth to grow. If you have ever held your breath to keep the peace, please remember, silence may keep the room calm, but it doesn't make it right. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and please send this to someone who needs a little courage today. Until next time, speak gently, but speak.